I've been getting a lot of questions about the EFF's open border policy, and I'm just going to let them answer it for themselves. But before I do, I would like you to treat this as homework and watch the full podcasts maybe over the weekend, and then listen to the logic behind Pan Africanism because they're not the first people to speak about it. It's much older than their party, in fact. But okay, let's get to the videos.
When the EFF talks about regional integration, they bastardize it like, open border, that when we take over, you're going to open the border immediately. No, you wouldn't. Even in our manifesto, that we deliberately use the word gradual, because that has to be in conversation with citizens of other countries. It has to be in conversation with these common programs of economic stability. But already, we depend so much on the region for our water. Here in Johannesburg, the water comes from Lesotho. We have a big electricity problem. The Mozambicans have electricity. They've got gas, they can give us electricity. There's so much that can happen. And if we do not start in the interest of stabilizing the continent, we'll always have people coming to knock at the door. We'll never have peace. The United States ignoring of the Hispanic world, of Mexico, for an example. They've got the largest, most powerful border control in the world. It hasn't saved them from that particular immigration problem. Had the United States conceptualized its economic strategy the way it did with its relationship with Canada, had it not been racist in relation to the Mexicans, there would be stability. There would be the same type of regional integration that you see in Europe, that you see in North America, in relation to them, for an example, in Canada. So if the developmental trajectory is not in the interest of regional stability, we're just living on a ticking time bomb.
So that was Dr. Mbuyiseni Ndlozi, and that was a Newsroom Africa interview, and I think it's available on YouTube. The next one is Dr. Gumani Chimomola, and that is also on the EFF's YouTube channel. So that one's the one I'm going to play now.
You are not going to grow South African economy if it's not integrated, intimately integrated. It must almost be, it can't function without the other economies around us functioning. That's how we must begin to understand it, right? So you are not only, by the way, opening up the economic borders so that you take your things there, because that kind of development will lead you to a situation where you dump things there, you don't improve the standard of living of that other countries, then they will all end up here. So you need to integrate the economy in such a sense that we don't produce the same things, we don't compete amongst each other to the detriment of each other's economy. But equally, it means once we become a bloc economically, we can then be able to negotiate international terms of trade.
Sure.
As a unit. Now we can't. Now you can go and negotiate a trade of a product that you make here. Only be told, no, there's someone in Kenya who's giving it to me cheaper. And then it undermines your own manufacturing.
Sure.
But as a continent, if we say economically, let's open it. Just imagine it. Don't look for a physical border where there's a security guy or a soldier
What
with
they
a
say
gun.
is a gate without a fence.
The economic border it's not complex.
Yeah.
It's simply a matter of someone produce A, I produce B, we add them up, they become C. And this happens in 3 countries in the continent. And then we take this thing and then we go and sell it to Europe, Asia, South America, North America as a block.
Sure.
You begin to achieve a monumental economic growth, which you can control, including the returns of that.
Now, if you listen to both of those speakers, you'll hear that they speak about inequality, something that you can see in a town, in a city, in a province, in a country, in a continent. And what that means is that if there's lack in one area and excess in one area, people are going to try and move from the one area to another. But if you want stability, you need to look at equality in a region. And Dr. Mbuyiseni Ndlozi used the perfect example of the US with Canada and Mexico. I don't think any country has a bigger military than the US. And they are having a problem enforcing border control. So why do we think of our 60 million people that we're going to be able to enforce border control when we should be looking at regional stability? How do we assist our neighboring countries, and how do our neighboring countries assist us? Pan-Africanism is a very, very, very old concept that we've always been striving for because it makes sense. And it's not just used in Africa, it's used in Europe as well, it's used in many other regions to help enforce stability and enforce or create better trade. And so I'm not sure if the idea behind open borders has been used to create this fear in us so that we don't look at it in a positive light. But this is something that is practiced all over the world to create stability, because whenever people lack or wherever there's inequality, people are going to try and find whatever they need to meet their basic needs. There's actually in the podcast with Kumani, he actually speaks about depopulating metros, because how they are becoming too full, and to do that you need to go into rural areas and develop there so that people can actually disperse throughout the rest of the country and you don't have this dense. Anyway, watch the podcasts. Your answers will be there. The EFF answers it for themselves. I don't need to speak for them, so you can go for it.